Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. And guys, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I fully understand that we have not officially clinched the AFC East or have officially clinched the playoffs, which there's a 99.9999999 chance we are about to clinch both of those. In fact, on Saturday at 7:30 once the clock hit 0 against the Denver Broncos. So what I thought would be interesting is going through the most likely opponents that we could be facing during that first wild card weekend. Now, there are a couple of teams that I'm a little nervous about. There's teams that I would rather play, and there's teams that I'm like, this is not an ideal situation for Jaboy. So I figured we go through these teams that I think we're most likely about to play right in the playoffs, and we'll go from there. But do need to give a quick announcement. So many of you ask, Dan, how can I support your channel? Well, first off, the best way to support this channel is simply by watching these videos and smashing the out of that like button. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm and allows my videos to be presented to new potential viewers. But say any of you ever want to go the extra mile, the best way to do it is either Patreon, which you can find that link in my description, or you can check out some of my merch, which is shelved right below this video. Without further ado, let's just dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently sitting at the 3rd seed of the playoffs. And say that the playoffs were to start today, we would be facing the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I really want that 2nd seed. And so I would love to start the postseason off with facing the 7th seed and just being able to roll right into the divisional round. But things are definitely going to be intriguing. The Steelers are currently sitting at the 2nd seed at this point, but their last 2 games of the season, they have a cakewalk against the Bengals coming up this week, but then they have the Indianapolis Colts and the Browns. They have a very realistic chance of dropping at least one of those games, maybe even 2. So there's a strong likelihood that the Bills are about to be the 2nd seed, which is going to be amazing. First time in the majority of our lives, to be honest with you. So now it comes down to this. Whether or not that we're the 2nd or we are the 3rd seed, I want to start off with the Cleveland Browns. There's definitely weaknesses on this defense when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, unless your name is Myles Garrett. I mean, he is a tremendous pass rusher. Say that Aaron Donald and say that Xavier Howard were not in the league, then arguably he could be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He's been balling, but overall their defense has had its struggles, specifically within their CB room. What makes them scary to me is their running game. It's not Baker Mayfield, it's not Jarvis Landry, it's not Austin Hooper, it's their running game. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, in my opinion, the best running back duo in the entire NFL. We all know that the Buffalo Bills, if we had any weakness on this team, it is run defense. Now, I'm fully aware that the Buffalo Bills ended up making small improvements. Past couple of games, we've been able to bottle up the run when we need to. But I think we can still get got on the run game by itself. And when you're facing running backs like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, it could be a long day. In my opinion, why I think we've been so effective in stopping the run is the fact that the Buffalo Bills have just been getting so far ahead early that teams can't run because they need to play the game of catch-up. They need to pass. And we essentially take the run game out of their hands by being so far ahead so early. As long as our offense can stay on board, start it off early, I have a feeling we should be able to handle the Browns. But if this is a close game and they just continue to run the ball, it might be a nail-biter. Not something I want to see, especially in the first round. All right, the second most likely opponent for the wild card round, which if the playoffs were to end today, we would be playing the Colts, is, you guessed it, the Colts. Now, this is the only veteran quarterback that we would potentially face off in the wild card round. Phillip Rivers, you could say what you want about him. He never won a Super Bowl, but he's an experienced veteran, and so far he's having a very good, quiet season. Their running game is amazing with Jonathan Taylor. Y'all all know that I wanted Jonathan Taylor as a running back for the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, he didn't fall to us at that point. But their offense is finally starting to come together. Their offensive line is hands down the best in the entire league. Their defense is incredible at stopping the run, pass. They're a very, very, very good team. And so what the Bills would need to do with this team is they essentially would just need to have to try and take advantage of any type of mismatch they have featuring right on that defense, whether or not that it's a second or third string CB, or whether or not that our wide receiver is light years better than him. We need to be able to establish a run game against this team. We need to be able to control the clock and come out with the victory. Luckily, the Buffalo Bills will be at home. They have home field advantage. Not so much that matters much in 2020 since there's no fans and there's really not a lot of loudness going around in the stadium itself. But if there was any team that I would probably be the most nervous about facing that first week, would probably have to be the Colts. All right, finally, the Miami Dolphins. I totally understand. Listen, as Bills fans, we've recently reignited our rivalry with this team, and it's not even a shoo-in that the Dolphins will win the playoffs. As long as the Ravens win out the rest of the season, then they are going to be in the playoffs, and the Dolphins are not going to be in the playoffs. So here's why I don't want to play the Dolphins, right? Beating a team twice in the year is hard enough. Beating them 3 times is very, very, very difficult. Their defense is amazing. Xavier Howard, in my opinion, most likely will win Defensive Player of the Year. So Byron Jones has also been having a hell of a season. Their secondary is completely nuts. The only thing that I think would help us, and so is the fact that Tua has never played in cold weather. Has never played in cold weather his entire career. Obviously, he was born in Hawaii. Thanks to my friend Joe Sharp from Believers Talk, he let me know that the coldest game Tua has ever played in his entire life was 54 degrees down in Alabama. So just to give you an idea, flying Tua up to Buffalo for the second week in a row, when it's most likely going to be 15 degrees outside and snowing, most likely will not help out his cause. So I'm confident that the Bills would be able to pull off that victory, but it would be hard fought. It would be the third time that we have faced them, and Brian Daboll would need to get very creative, because at that point, the Dolphins have already seen our game plan going into it. So that is the third team that I am most nervous about facing. And then it would probably be the Ravens, but in my opinion, I think the Ravens are probably going to snag the 5th seed. I'm really not concerned about that, and the Titans as well. I think the Titans aren't going to fall in that 6th or 7th seed category, but say that it does, then you'll definitely see a preview video coming from me at that point. Dom Mafia, do me a favor. Comment what team you would like to avoid during that first wild card week, so we can just go in there and just run through everything. Full transparency, I think that we can beat whatever team we face handedly. And so each and every single team that is below the 3rd seed, I believe that we are a better team. And I feel like we are going to win, but I'm still curious to hear your thoughts on that. Dom Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. Do keep in mind I am live streaming my game time reaction tomorrow at OD's Bar and Lounge in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is a Bills bar, so this is going to be super exciting to be around and see some Bills fans and stuff like that. Say, for example, that you're in North Myrtle Beach or you're going to be at OD's. Come up to me, talk to me, shake my hand. I love hanging out with Bills fans, especially since I'm down here and we're few and far between. Besides that, Dom Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And above all else, let's go Buffalo.